Nami!
何？私どうしたらいい？
助けてくれ。
Ah, Usopp, the lovable idiot and perhaps the only extremely ordinary character we all are desperately looking forward to having a banger time in Elbaf. While the rest of One Piece are ultimate legends, this long-nosed Pinocchio perhaps reminds us ruthlessly of our own struggle. Because Usopp's struggle is greatly internal and not something tangible like a certain power-up or something. His tale is all about self-acceptance much like ours. Childhood. Alright, so Usopp's story starts 19 years ago in Surf Village. His dad, he took off to live the life of a pirate, leaving Usopp and his mother behind. And when Usopp was just 7 years old, his mom tragically passed away, leaving him all alone with no parents around. Usopp had to fend for himself, feeling pretty much forgotten by everyone. And to make things worse, he didn't have any real friends for years. But here's where it gets kinda heartbreaking. Usopp started telling lies. He'd shout to his sick mom that pirates were coming, hoping it would give her the strength to keep fighting. After she passed away, he kept doing it because, honestly, it was his way of dealing with the pain of losing both his parents. Even the villagers would pretend to chase Usopp and throw things at him as he ran through the town, but they were pretty used to his antics by then. Some even started using his daily run as a sort of alarm clock to kick off their day. Trauma. This low-key was a sort of humiliation that Usopp somehow internalized himself. He was the clown the villagers could laugh at, and it created some deep insecurities that always told him that he was never enough from inside. Perhaps that's why he's always running to be something greater. The loss of his mom and the constant risk around him made him really afraid of losing the people he cared about, and super aware how fragile life is. On top of that, being the village protector just added to the pressure. He felt responsible for everyone's safety, so basically, he developed this habit of lying to save others. Usopp's lying was his way of dealing with his feelings of abandonment, helping him feel like someone still cared. It was probably also the only real interaction he had with anyone during those lonely years without friends. His deep loneliness is why he connected with Kaya, sneaking in to tell her stories and keep her company, even if the stories he told her were lies. Usopp also used to run from his opponents like Aokiji, and was easily overwhelmed by them. Therefore, most of his lying was also meant to make him feel better. This was the outcome of all his self-doubts about his value to the crew building up, to the point where they blew up in his face when he was severely battered by Frankie family and subsequently lost his ship. He has this great sense of uselessness and is concerned that his lack of physical capability compared to Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro would make him a liability to their group. That's why Usopp was so surprised when, for the first time in his life, Luffy expressed a real desire for him to join his crew. The going merry and his capability to keep it in good working order finally became central to his sense of self-worth. And now he is very afraid to lose his crewmates. This helps explain why Usopp lost it at Water 7 when the crew wished to buy a new ship. He believed they would desert him if he also became useless, just like the Merry. Abilities. Even though Usopp isn't the strongest physically, his aim with a slingshot is insane, just like his dad's. He can hit multiple targets without missing, even from distances where he can barely see. After the Straw Hats visited Skypiea, Usopp added dials to his arsenal. These cool shell-shaped artifacts that can reflect attacks, shoot fire, and more. Fast forward to after the 2-year time skip, and Usopp got a plant-based fighting style using pop greens, seeds from the Bowen Archipelago that grew into deadly plants in seconds. Oh, and let's not forget Usopp's also a talented inventor and artist. He designed Luffy's Jolly Roger and even created Nami's climb attack. Plus, before they had a shipwright, Usopp was the one keeping the Going Merry in shape whenever it got damaged. Hockey. From here, Usopp's character has only grown more, with one major highlight being when he awakened his observation Haki during the Dressrosa revolt. He was able to see the auras of Luffy, Law, and Sugar who were all the way in the royal palace from the Old King Plateau near Koraida Coliseum. And now, with the new power, he tracked down Sugar's location and took her out with an amazing long-range shot. Awakening. Even though Usopp is super smart and a top-notch sniper, he had a hard time recognizing his own strength until the fight at Inai's lobby opened his eyes. After that fight, he finally saw his own potential and realized that even if he wasn't as strong as the others, he was still pretty powerful in his own right. After the time skip, Usopp starts to feel more confident, especially about his fighting skills, and even boasts that he's become a warrior. Before the time skip, he freaked out about joining the crew at the human auction house. But when he returns to Saboti Archipelago, he faces the fake Straw Hat crew without flinching even though they have guns, and then calmly turns his back to chat with Nami. Although he claimed to have graduated from the weakling trio after Sabaody, Usopp still shows his cowardly side, especially against fearsome foes. After Luffy allied with Law, Usopp was really worried about making enemies with Kaido. At Dressrosa, he just wanted to take down the Smile Factory without facing the Don Quixote pirates even after hearing about their horrible deeds. Worst of Usopp, Wano arc. Just got to thinking, Usopp hasn't really done jack shit in Wano yet, despite the arc being at its culmination. He was the first besides the monster trio to awake Haki and still hasn't even used it since, even though it would have been very useful in the brief skirmishes he was in. He's one of my favorites, and it's honestly depressing that someone who's been with the Straw Hats since East Blue hasn't gotten a moment to shine since Dressrosa, which was well over 200 chapters ago. Usopp's fear of death. However, this can all be the perfect setting if you think about it. What is Usopp's greatest fear? It is none other than his fear of death. That is the sole reason he acts the way he does whenever he is in a dangerous situation. So, how would he overcome his greatest fear? By death. By experiencing death and returning, it may change Usopp to the point where he becomes overwhelmingly more brave and fearless than fearful. Honestly, it may flip his character, giving him a "if death can't kill me, no one can" type mentality, giving him the confidence and self-esteem necessary to fight enemies that may be stronger than himself. Now, I'm not sure if this will happen. One Piece is unpredictable, but if it does happen, hopefully we'll get a braver Usopp rather than a fearful one. The Usopp dream: to be a great warrior. Alright, you might be wondering why I've been holding off on the main highlights of Usopp's character for so long. I mean, it's pretty much the heart of who he is. Well, I'm building up to it, so hang tight. Later in the series, Usopp meets the giants Jory and Brogy at Little Garden. That's where he first learns about Elbaf, the legendary land of giants and great warriors. This sparks Usopp's dream of one day traveling to Elbaf and meeting those proud warriors. It's there that Usopp gets his first real taste of the warrior way and the honor of a duel. As a result, the Elbaf warriors he's encountered become a huge source of inspiration for his own journey to become a brave warrior of the sea. And that's exactly how Usopp's story is building up to Elbaf. Now, Usopp might not seem like it at first glance, but he's got his own unique way of life. He's driven by a desire to be brave and have some immense pride, which resonates not just with him, but with many fans of One Piece. Just like Usopp, many people start out as average individuals without much privilege. Yet, a dream has the power to transform a person, and that's what Oda is showcasing with Usopp. The fact that Usopp was one of the first to react to the news of Dory and Brogy coming to Egghead shows that Oda recognizes Usopp's significance in the upcoming arc and wants to give him some well-deserved spotlight. The ending Usopp deserves. So, this all leads us to the big question. What kind of ending will Usopp actually get in Elbaf? Will it be everything he's been dreaming of, or something totally unexpected? For now, all we can do is hope that Oda has set us up for something truly epic. As we all know, Usopp is deeply connected to folk tales and legends. When we first meet him, his story is kind of like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, but instead of wolves, it's pirates. He's a liar with a big nose, just like Pinocchio. The fight between Luffy and Usopp can even remind us of the tortoise and the hare, where Usopp is the underdog and Luffy, like the hare, didn't take him seriously at all at first. But since Luffy is the captain and the main character, he had to come out on top. Plus, when Usopp climbs that giant elephant and encounters a bunch of strange creatures, it's kind of like James and the Giant Peach. And in Dressrosa, while he and Robin were in the Tatatus, that was clearly a reference to Gulliver's Travel. Hell, even his name is a play on Aesop, the famous storyteller/author. Since Usopp is a mashup of so many classic tales, and he's the only East Blue Straw Hat who hasn't had a power-up since the time skip, it's definitely time for him to get one. It looks like his arc might be inspired by the story of Jack the Giant Killer, not to be confused with Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack the Giant Killer is all about bravery, overcoming obstacles, and facing fears to help others. While we don't exactly know what his power-up will look like, it's pretty likely that after bravely taking on giants, and maybe even taking down a few, Usopp will shed his cowardly reputation and become known far and wide as the legendary god Usopp, the Giant Killer. Many fans think he'll achieve this warrior dream in Elbaf, but I beg to differ. The thing is, people often bash Usopp for being a coward, but they don't really get his motivations or his character growth. You can't truly be brave if you're not afraid in the first place. Every time Usopp is scared, he manages to pull himself together and actually contribute to the mission. And believe it or not, his so-called cowardice has been crucial to the Straw Hats' victories more than once. The crew is all about helping Luffy become king of the pirates and chasing their own dreams. Honestly, I doubt any crew member will achieve their dream before Luffy becomes king, so why would Usopp be any different? Usopp's cowardice isn't going anywhere until the series ends because his goal is to become a brave warrior of the seas. Unlike the other members, his dream isn't about a tangible item or completing a specific goal. It's all about self-acceptance. He wants his stories to be believed and his lies to turn into truth. He even won over Perona because his self-esteem was at an all-time low. But one day, Usopp will return to Kaya with true stories to share, leaving behind his days of lying because he won't need to anymore. He'll finally meet Usopp face to face with mutual respect, though he still has some growing to do before that happens. I think Usopp's arc in Elbaf will focus on taking his sniper skills to the next level. Part of this will involve learning to stay calm and control his emotions to boost his observation hockey, especially if he wants to compete with someone like Van Augur. The Giants will instantly warm up to Usopp as they recognize him for honoring Sogi King, which will be a key part of his story. Plus, with Dory, Brogy, Oimo, and Kashi all back home, Usopp will see that he already has a lot of fans. This admiration from the Giants, who are some of his biggest heroes, will seriously boost his confidence. I believe Usopp will leave Elbaf with new powers and a stronger sense of self-confidence. He'll start to see himself as a valuable member of the Pirate King's crew, and this will set off a change that will eventually help him achieve his dreams. Just picture this. The whole time Usopp is with the Giants, they're showering him with praise, and he's spinning his usual tall tales. But then, when the Giants come under attack, Usopp steps up, not just to hide his lies, but because he genuinely cares about them and thinks they're worth fighting for. Honestly, Usopp is my favorite character. Not just because of the funny lying gags or the God Usopp jokes, but because he's a real, ordinary person fighting alongside living legends. When you look at it that way, it makes sense that he's a coward. But here's the thing, cowards have a unique advantage. They have the potential to show the greatest courage. And Usopp might just be the perfect character to coin that lesson to us.